Perfect. Thank you very much. Coach, thank you very much for joining us today. If you wouldn't mind, can you just, start us off with an opening statement, then we'll jump into questions for you.
Well, obviously, we have one day of practice coming back, and it'll be today as far as having a full team. And it hasn't gone well for us because we've missed 2 months of practice and games. We're trying to make the best of it in very difficult times. We probably have been hit harder than any program in the nation. That being said, I'm very proud of our guys because they've hung in there. They've been basically in jail 4 different times for 14 days and has not been easy. But it is a pandemic. It's not something that we've seen in our lifetime, and we'll try to make the best of it heading to Atlantic City.
Great. Thank you very much, Coach. First up, we're going to have Adam Zagoria from Zag Blogs here.
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
Good, Adam.
I guess, what are your thoughts on having fans at the MAAC tournament? Shaheen was on earlier, said he had some concerns about, players mingling with the parents and fans in the hotel. I think King Rice said he had some concerns. Are you worried that it could raise the chances of COVID problems at the tournament or at the NCAA tournament?
I don't have the concerns that they have. I think that if the rest of the teams are doing it, Kentucky and Louisville and most of the places now have had fans in large arenas, and they seem to not have the difficulties. So I'm not as concerned as those two gentlemen.
And while I got you, I saw you tweeted about the Nets. What are your thoughts just kind of on the overall New York City basketball scene? The Knicks are more relevant than they've been in 20 years. The Nets.
You mean the James Harden tweet? I didn't tweet about the Nets.
Yeah, sorry, James Harden.
Yeah, I found it astonishing that James Harden could have those numbers, but more important, to play 44 minutes, get a victory, handle the basketball about 30-40% of the time, and not have a turnover in the game, besides the incredible stats that he had in the triple-double. To me, that was mind-boggling, astonishing to have those stats. It's great to see. I think that Steve Nash is the perfect coach for the Nets, and Tom Thibodeau is the perfect coach for the Knicks. The Knicks are building a culture that's outstanding. They're winning. Now, the schedule has been in their favor, and now it goes against them a little bit, which fans have to be patient. But Tibbs is building something special there in terms of their culture. I think their front office understands that they need some stars, although Randall is becoming a star. So it's exciting for both basketball teams. Both basketball teams have the right coach, the right leadership at the top. And I think it's going to be exciting for the metropolitan area to have two teams on the rise.
You've seen and coached some great offensive players. Where does James Harden right now rank? I mean, he's pretty much averaging a triple-double. Where does he rank in terms of
and he's still not in great shape. He's only going to get in better shape as the season goes along. He's an amazing talent. And when you put Kyrie next to him, and then you add, I think, one of the premier power forwards in the history of the game in Kevin Durant, I think you have something that's truly unique. I think they'll improve defensively as they start playing together. The Nets could win it all. Certainly, they have to get by Philadelphia and Milwaukee, but they're certainly capable of winning it all.
Thanks, my friend. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have Eugene.
Hey, Rick, is there any chance that you try to play or schedule a game this weekend before the MAAC tournament?
We tried to play Marist, but we would have to play with masks on, and and I don't blame them. They did not want to do that. So we're going to try to have an inter-squad scrimmage in uniforms on Thursday. If I can get Isaiah Ross in shape, or we'll probably sit him for that. But it doesn't look like we can schedule a game, although we would have loved to.
And considering the timing of this recent pause, is there any concerns for Russ going into the postseason?
Oh, not only this pause, but the other three combined. We've missed 60 days. The last time around we had our last pause, We came out of it, got in great shape, and played 2 excellent games against Monmouth. And now, unfortunately, we're back to square one, being out of shape and trying to get back into shape. So there's nothing we can do about it. We'll try to make the best of it.
And last one for you. Was there anything that you learned from your previous layoff that made this time around easier, or something you'll do differently?
No, we got him back in really good shape. This time around, it's a little bit different because in order for us to progress to the NCAA tournament, we'd have to win 4 games, even though we're 6-3, and that's not easy to do coming out of a pause, being out of shape, and that'll be a tall order, but we're going to give it our best shot. Play it 1 game at a time.
Thanks, Rick.
Okay, next up we have Ken.
Hi, Coach. Ken Kreitzer, WVOX. How did your players take the news of this latest pause, and how did they spend time during this period?
I think they're all disappointed, certainly, especially Isaiah, who's coming off a 31-point performance, and it's him that caught it. I think they're disappointed, but we just, again, try to make the best of it.
And Coach, you were playing so well against Monmouth, those 2 wins. Do you feel like you can get close to that in preparation for the MAAC tournament?
Honestly, I don't. I don't believe that, but we're going to make the best of it.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay, next up we have Aaron Robinson. Aaron, go ahead.
How's it going, Coach? Before the season, you talked about how you thought the season should have been pushed back. You guys have had one of the longest pauses in the country this year. Reflecting on that comment, how do you think you still believe that the season should have been pushed back?
Well, what I said was, let's push it back to May Madness to create herd immunity. Let all the players get the virus, which hasn't hurt the young people that much. Let's let the vaccines come out. I said February, and I was pretty much on the money with that. And then start the season at the end of February when most of the players have had it. Herd immunity sets in, the vaccine sets in, and we'll have a safe environment. I think in the end, I was probably correct in my assessment, but I do not blame anybody for trying to, because of all the contractual obligations of having inside the bubble in Indianapolis, which is the safest environment. So it's not about being right or wrong. It was a suggestion I had. Certainly I didn't think the NCAA would listen to my suggestion. And we move on.
Isaiah Ross is currently leading the conference in scoring at 20 a night. Obviously, you guys have only played, I think, 9 conference games. Do you think that he deserves to get the Player of the Year?
I don't get into that at all. It's not something that I judge, or I don't believe in. Believe in letting the. He's one of the top scorers in the country. He's an outstanding basketball player. He's 24 years of age. He's going to move on and be a professional player in Europe, and that's what concerns me more than any individual awards that really don't mean a whole lot.
Like, obviously, the pauses have been a huge hurdle for you guys. How do you kind of try to bottle up the game that you guys have left and try to put together 4 games in Atlantic City?
Well, the first thing we have to do is get in shape. We have to get back in shape. 4 different times our players have been out of shape coming back, and I found it to be extremely difficult to get them back in shape. And what has happened each time, and this is what I've learned from that, is every time we tried to get the players back in shape, we've had players pull hamstrings, pull groins. So I'm going to go very slow this time, and especially with Isaiah Ross. Today we tried to just put him through some shooting drills, and he immediately blew out his back. So we're going to take it slow with the guys, especially Isaiah Ross, and see if we can get them back in shape by Sunday. If not, they're going to play less minutes than they've played in the past.
Thanks a lot, Coach, and good luck going forward.
Thank you, Aaron.
All right, Coach, next up we have Bruce Beck. Bruce, you there?
Yes, thank you very much.
No problem.
Hey, Coach, have you ever had anything like this in all your years of coaching in terms of an unprecedented situation going into a conference tournament, and how much of a challenge is that?
Well, what was the
Hey, Rick, I
yes.
guess my question is, going into a conference tournament, there are so many unknowns, there's so many challenges. Have you ever gone through anything like this, or can you compare it to anything?
Well, I'm old, so I wasn't around during the Spanish problems. But no, obviously it's a pandemic, and we haven't been through this type of thing before in our history. For us, we got hit harder than most teams. I'm more concerned about the 510,000 deaths that we've had. My heart goes out to those people more than our teams suffering from pauses. Certainly, I know from still to this day, my thoughts about 9/11 and losing my brother-in-law and best friend in life. I know what so many people have gone through with losing their loved ones and not even being able to have a funeral service and not even being able to pay their respects the right way. To me, my heart goes out to those people. So I'm not overly concerned about the problems we've had in basketball breaks, but we will make the best of it. But my heart does go out to the people who have lost so many loved ones. This is something that's, I hope and pray that we never have to experience in our lifetime ever again. So we'll just make the best of it basketball wise. We'll get through it and hopefully have a normal basketball season next year.
Rick, in terms of resilience, have you been impressed with your kids and the way they've handled this throughout? And is this a group that, you have a lot of respect for?
I do. It's a great group to coach. We're probably the most difficult thing is trying to get them back in shape, trying to push them to get them in shape so they can play, and then getting them to remember the plays, the defenses once again after 14 days, and all the little things we've overcome. We go back to square one. We get to like square 6 or 7, and then we go back to square one again. And it's not easy to do, but it's something it's a roadblock that stands in our way. And a lot of it's going to be motivational, inspirational going into this. It's not going to be technical because those aspects have to just go game to game. But the inspirational, motivational parts are going to have to be big for us because we won't be in peak form.
Coach, good luck and be safe.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Bruce. Next up, we have Guy.
Hey, Coach. I just wanted to ask you gave the team a great speech before the Monmouth games about, hey, we can make all the excuses in the world. Let's just make this special on our own. Are you going with the same approach going into this tournament?
Well, the tournament's different. I handle tournaments a lot different than regular season games. I've been through the SEC tournaments, wars throughout the years. I've been through Conference USA. I've been through the AAC. I've been through obviously the ACC, the Big East, and those wars are. I remember we won back-to-back the last 2 Big East tournaments played, and that was a great honor. So the tournaments are different. I handle the tournaments a lot different, motivational, planning-wise, scouting-wise, but we'll see going into this. I want to first see, we're back to practice today. I want to see what we have, what type of shape we're in, and let's get the guys in shape before we do any other thoughts going forward.
And I know game situation will dictate how many guys you actually use, but do you feel like you're going to go with a shorter rotation because you want to kind of survive and advance, or do you think we'll see 12, 13 guys like we saw against Monmouth?
I think you'll see more than less because we won't be in great shape.
Okay, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, just one from me on my end. You've had a lot of great play from your underclassmen this year, all in building the team here. Can you just speak about those guys, what they've meant to the program?
Well, Nelly Joseph is certain. What I'm trying to do is, what I like to do is develop players to become professional basketball players. It doesn't have to be the NBA. It could be the EuroLeague, it could be the Champions League. And when you've got a player like Nelly Joseph, who junior, who's going to be a professional basketball player at some level, you try to take your young players like Ryan Myers and make them part of a culture that's going to grow into aspirations of being a professional. As well as we've had the highest GPA in the last 20 years here at Iona with a 3.2 collective GPA. So we're trying to get excellence at every phase of being a student athlete in college, academically, athletically, and off the court being a professional. And our young players are falling in line. Osborne Schiemer and certainly Ryan Myers and Nelly Joseph and some of the other players as well. We say goodbye to two 24-year-olds. I probably have the oldest backcourt in the nation. I just filled out Social Security papers for both Asante Gist and Isaiah Ross, who are both combined age of 48. But Asante really hasn't had much to his senior year. He's probably missed not only the 2 months of practice, but he's also missed because of his finger and his back another 45 days. So he hasn't had much of a senior year in terms of basketball. So we want to make it as much fun and catch up as much as possible in the last week of their season.
Great. Thank you very much, Coach, and best of luck next week in Atlantic City.
Okay, guys. Thank you.